Hello. Okay, I think we're focused. We started a challenge last month or the month before that, and I think it was the month before that in March, and I have not read anything since from anything on that list, I believe. When I read Lessons in Chemistry, I think it didn't even record that one, and I reached out to Goodreads, and clearly, honestly, Goodreads in general is just terrible, but I reached out to them trying to get it fixed. They did not fix it or whatever, so I might have to read another book for one of the challenges. But as for this video, I will be reading, I've been reading Curvy Girl Summer for one of the challenges. I sectioned it off for 3 days or so. I wanted to talk about each section, but yesterday I didn't talk about it because I was reading until late into the night, I believe. So I wanted to talk about it today, but then I started reading it and then I couldn't stop. So let's get into it. Curvy Girl Summer, the basic premise of this book, we have the main woman here on the front, and that's Aaliyah James. Then we have Ahmad Williamson. So we have Aaliyah, and she is done with the casual dating. She's done with like situationships and not being in like a committed relationship that she can see going long term. So she's looking for the one, and her 30th is approaching. Her family's on her, brings this up with her family. Her family is also just very curious about whether she wants to have a long-term partnership with someone, and they're very much on her behind about whether she wants to commit to a relationship. And one of the things about this story is that one of the characters, her uncle, he's fat phobic. Yes, he very much is. And a lot of the themes, I guess one of the main themes is Aaliyah herself dealing with people and how they view her body type. She is very healthy, and she makes this known to her family, but they equate her health and her size to whether she's ready or can actually keep a man, if you will. And she completely does not agree with that, but of course that's going to get to her because it is her family. They're basically throwing men at her at this point, and they want her to be happy with someone. They compare her a lot to her sister, her late sister, and the fact that when she was 30, she already had a husband. She had a good life, whatever they define a good life as. They want her to have that life. She's throwing like a little birthday bash on her 30th, and her family invites men, but she also lets them know that, okay, or a man in general, but she lets them know that she has a partner when she really doesn't. So I think for the most part she's seeking someone to have by her 30th. She has about 7 weeks to do that. So it's like a casual timeline, I'd say. She definitely does not have to have someone then, and she doesn't feel the need to prove that to her family that she has a partner, but she does want to have that for her birthday. She starts trying to date again. She goes to this bar for a blind date, essentially. The blind date never shows up, and she meets the bartender, and he's honestly talking her into starting in on a dating app. So she starts the dating app, and he's basically gonna be her wingman. Ahmad is gonna be her wingman while she goes on these dates. She can go on the dates at the bar, and he can kind of be there for her if she needs any help or just like support in general. That's the basic premise of the story. It's really fun, but once you get into it, it just goes into some beautiful themes. I love the storytelling. It's very straightforward and simple, but lovely at the same time. I've annotated so much, literally so much. I'm just obsessed with it, quite frankly. And then with each chapter I have little notes and whatnot. I'm almost done. I'm about 75% of the way through this, but I wanted to update before I finish the story so you know how I feel right now. If I had to put it somewhere, if I had to give it a star rating, I'd probably give it, not gonna lie, I'd give it a solid 5 stars. Like, this is amazing. I'm having a great time. I love the chemistry between Ahmad and Aaliyah, and not just them. I think even the side characters, the extras, if you will, their friends, their friend groups are actually so lovely. So they both have 2 close friends, and we get to know a lot about them. And even though they're not on page all of the time, it's like you still care about them. Then we meet his sister and her family as well. Honestly, all of the characters are very much well realized, and they feel like actual people. So I think that's very important when you go into a story. All of Aaliyah's outfits are so beautiful. You know when they describe outfits in books and you're just like, that is god awful. Her outfits are actually cute. You can imagine them and they're beautiful, okay? Some of the things that people, men specifically, mostly men, but women as well, have been saying about her body have been actually atrocious. And she checks them every time, casually. She checks them nicely. You know, she could say so much, but she definitely is very, very demure in her responses. And I commend her for that because she doesn't deserve it and they deserve nothing. She's absolutely amazing. Her personality is so great. Oh my god, I'm getting bit up out here, okay? I don't want to go too far into spoiler territory. I guess light spoilers. Clearly Ahmad is the love interest. It's on the back. Ahmad is a love interest, but he's also wearing a wedding ring. So it's like, what's going on there? What's the situation there? It made me very curious as to how they would approach this and like why he was wearing that, what happened. Is this a real wedding band? What's going on here? Because with bartenders, you know, they get harassed all the time at bars and people are constantly hitting on them, wondering if they are in a relationship and whatnot. Like, not just people who work at bars, but people who work in customer service, whatever. So the fact that he's wearing a wedding band, is this fake? Is this for your protection so that you don't get catcalled, hooted at, hollered at, whatever? That's an element of the story that we just actually found out about maybe about 65% of the way through the story. And for the most part, they have been friends. They have been actually developing a nice friendship, flirtatious here and there, but because he is potentially married and there is a boundary there, so I think that's what makes their friendship seem very wholesome and nice, because they don't want to cross a bound, or at least she doesn't want to cross a boundary that would be inappropriate. So for the most part, this has been very beautiful. They're developing a great friendship, and where I am in the story, they have not crossed any bounds. There have been a lot of moments, I would say, and the moments have been ramping up. So it's only it can only be so long now until they actually get together, because there's only maybe 25% of the story left. So if you like a slow burn, this one is the one for you. It's the one for me. I really do love it. So yes, I'm having a great time and I love all the characters. I will give an update probably tomorrow when I finish the book. I may actually finish it tonight, but I want to give an update tomorrow so I have so I can send in my thoughts, if you will. I just finished Curvy Girl Summer. Okay, that's a lot. I finished Curvy Girl Summer probably 2, 3, 4 days ago. It is currently May 9th and I finished, I think, May 6th. And since then, ever since then, I just have not been able to stop thinking about this book. Every waking moment of every single day since, I really have been thinking about this book. So I think the last update, maybe the only update that I gave, was that I talked about how this was probably going to be a 5-star read for me, and it was. It clearly was. Everyone that's read this, on Goodreads at least, that I've seen that's read this, they've given it maybe 4 or 5 stars, and quite frankly, yes. It's just too good. It's just way too good, and I'm pleasantly surprised. I thought this would just purely be like a spicy book, to be honest. I had no idea. Like, when you think of Hot Girl Summer, I'll play on the title. When you think of like Hot Girl Summer, it's just like shenanigans and whatnot. But this book, no. Reading the first chapter or whatever, it's like, okay. And then it starts to get very deep. Like, I don't even know if it's the second chapter or the end of the first chapter, but very early on, yeah, I think it's the second chapter. Very early on, we see that there's definitely going to be some depth to this book, and I was really happy about that. In general, the story means so much to me. Like, I absolutely adore it with my entire being. I adore this book. It's because it gave me a little bit of clarity and maybe even validation on how I feel about like this dating scene now, and just in general, like with personal, like interpersonal relationships with the people in your lives, and then with strangers as well. I think that it was just very beautiful, and It was tackled very well by Danielle Allen. Shout out to Danielle Allen. She's amazing, and I will be reading everything. Well, okay. I saw her backlist. I will probably not be reading everything, but I will be reading more from Danielle Allen, especially the second book. I think it's called Plus Size Player. I think the next story is one of Aaliyah's best friend's story. I think that's her story, Nina. And Nina was just so amazing in the story. Like, you could tell that she and her other best friend were dealing with a lot of things, and maybe there'll be a third book too. I love when we just follow female main characters, like it's amazing. But like interconnected, like they have a personal relationship. I really do like that, instead of just like a series focusing on a romance series focusing in on one main character, like the same main character the entire time. Like that, just there will be miscommunication at that point, and I just hate it so much. So in regards to Aaliyah herself, I think I really enjoyed her character because she reminded me of me a little bit, and not just the way that she dealt with like relationships, but just like her soul just felt so present and close to me for some reason. Like it was just so good. The male main character, Ahmad, amazing. Where is he? He's just so great. I wrote some things down. I liked his protectiveness. I liked the fact that he always had her. The fact that he was just so hilarious and witty. For both of them, I think that they fit really well. But there was a quote in here that really resonated with me. He asked her how she knows that this is the person that she wants to be with and whatnot. And she says, hold on, I have a quote. She says, because he's gonna look at me, know what I want, and take care of it. Exactly. I literally annotated this as much as it could be annotated. I feel like when I reread it, I'll annotate some more, and every single page will be an annotation, quite frankly. This time I didn't actually write in the book because I was hybrid reading it, so I was listening to it and reading at the same time. I was also like cleaning and doing a lot of things. At the end of every chapter, I did want to reflect on the story, so I ended up making little summaries of the chapters, like very, very tiny. So here's one. What really stood out to me with this story as opposed to other romances that I've read is the fact that they really did start like a genuine friendship throughout the story. And this is considered a slow burn because it was maybe 60-70% of the way in that they actually started to express or outwardly express the fact that they had feelings for each other, I believe. So I thought that was so refreshing, and it felt like this could really be a long-lasting relationship as opposed to like a I think it's called Happy for Now. Like, okay, they're happy, but do you really think that they could be together in the long run? Probably not. But these characters, yes, absolutely. Commending Danielle Allen for her ability to do that. Like, her pen, strong. So yeah, I had a great time with this. I will be rereading it. I asked my sister, and she actually read this too. She said she read it 3 times, 5 stars every single time. It's one of her faves. So I can tell. I can see why. Yeah, this is so great. I can't stop looking at it. I can't stop thinking about it. I'll probably be thinking about it a month from now. So happy. Also recommend to everyone probably in their mid-20s to early 30s. Yeah, I recommend this story for everyone in their mid-20s to early 30s. I think that's like the perfect age for this story specifically. 5 stars. 5 stars. So while I'm here, I did want to talk about the next book on my community reads challenge. I did already pick it out. I did end up starting Chain Gang All-Stars. A little bit of backstory about this one. I have read this, or I have started to read this before. Hold on, I left the bookmark in here, and I got 118. It looks like 25 to 30-ish% of the way through. I didn't get too far into this, but I do remember that I was enjoying this one. I got super busy, so I couldn't finish it at the time, and I was also listening to it on audiobook. I think the best way to read this one is probably hybrid reading it or listening to it on audiobook. That helps me a lot. Audiobooks just are everything to me. So I was enjoying this one, but I just set it down for now. It wasn't a complete DNF. It was like a pause for now sort of situation. I feel like if I had to give you like a baseline for where I am right now in regards to like star rating, just so you understand how I'm feeling, it'd probably sit more like in a 3.5 to 4 star range. I'm not enjoying it as much as I want to, which is 5 stars clearly, but I think that's because I don't feel as connected to the characters. Like I really love the message behind the entire story in general. I didn't even talk about what it's about. Hold on, but I like the message behind the entire story, but I don't feel as connected to the characters, and that is the main thing for me. Like there are a good bit of people that are being introduced all the time, and I haven't really cared for any of them. Like even the main character, I haven't really cared for as much. So that was a little disappointing. It is a little bit disappointing, but I still have room in my heart. I still have hope that this will be amazing and make its way to 5-star territory. I think that it has the ability to do that. So I did tab it off. This means nothing because I've been reading it very quickly. It's so good. And I got this one from Pango Books, I believe, from a seller. They were selling a signed copy, and I was like, yes, thank you so much, because I had actually read something by them before. I started a short story collection by them before. What is the story about? Let's see. A very, very short explanation. Let's just say top 2 women gladiators fighting for their freedom within a depraved private prison system not so far removed from America's own. Exactly. I wrote something down from a quote. It's not the quote exactly, but I wrote it down because I was like, this is exactly what this is. Public executions as entertainment, hard action sports like chain gang all-stars, which is what this is. Like they're in chain gangs, so they're in like groups. They're all not the best people. When you're put into this chain gang, you've done something in society. So think of like the death punishment, but to the extreme, and they're having to fight for their lives for several years, it seems like, if they can even survive in order to be free, I guess. We're following Loretta Thurwar and Hurricane Stacks. I like the fact that there are multiple perspectives in this book. Yeah, this is still third person, but it does follow many people. So we're following Thurwar and Stacks, mostly Thurwar, but we're also getting perspectives from outsiders, people who are everything is like televised, so we're getting perspectives from people who are like actively watching how they feel about these hard action sports. We're getting people who are protesting against hard action sports, people who work in, you know, the top, that are in control of what is actually happening to these like incarcerated individuals. So I think that this is such an interesting story. It has a great premise. If I explained it well, I'm so sorry. I am having a great time with it, and I'm predicting a 5-star, but in reality I think it will be more of like a 4.5 star, if that can happen. 4.5 stars. Yeah, that'd be great. Hello, just coming on here to say that I did indeed finish Chain Gang All-Star. It was amazing. It was amazing. I had a great time. The first time I tried to read it, I had the same experience, I feel like, as this time, where I felt a little bit disconnected. That kind of continued on throughout the entirety of me reading the story. I just felt like there was something missing in a sense, and everything that happened, while it was it was rough to read, but at the same time it didn't feel all that surprising. And maybe it's because if you're aware of events that are happening in the world, like if you're very connected to that, then this doesn't feel all that surprising in a way. But I did have an amazing time reading it. I think that everyone should actually read this. Anything by them, I feel like I've had a great time. I just have not finished Friday Black yet. Yeah, that's what it was. It's like a short story collection. I will read that soon, Friday Black, because I think I got halfway through that one. I just set it down. But yes, please read this one. Both of the stories that I read in this vlog, I don't know where the other book is, sorry. But both of the stories were so great. I had a lovely time. Even the ending, I will say, I feel like I knew that that was coming. And I think that was the point of it as well. It was very unsurprising that, of course, this was going to happen, but at the same time, you didn't want it to happen, and it did. When everything came to a head, it just fizzled in a way. So the ending was pretty abrupt, but at the same time, like, you couldn't do anything about that. It would have been interesting to see the aftermath of what happened at the end, but at the same time, it's kind of one of those endings where it's, you already know what's gonna happen, but you would have enjoyed seeing something afterwards. It's like the climax happened at the end. All in all, I feel like I would give this one probably a 4 stars, 3.75 to 4 stars. Yeah, but I still do recommend. I do also recommend Curvy Girl Summer. Obviously, I feel like that's my favorite book of the year. Amazing. And this one as well. So this was a very successful video. I hope you enjoyed, because I did. It is a lot, you know, because it has to deal with the prison industrial system and people who aren't exactly saints. I really enjoyed both of these stories. So yeah, thank you for watching. Bye.